Alrighty, welcome to episode 260 of Backpacking America. Today we're going to be talking about quite a somber topic. It's the wildfires that occurred in Maui in Hawaii today. Uh, I gotta say, first off, I mean, rest in peace to all the people that lost their homes. I mean, whole towns got demolished. I think a town of 13,000 people is completely wiped out. Most of the buildings are gone. 96 confirmed dead so far, but they're expecting hundreds more to be confirmed dead. Thousands of people lost their homes. It's really devastating, and of course, there's conspiracy theories and politicking and all these things, and we're gonna delve into the two major theories of this, about behind the Maui fires. But first, I do want to say that the footage surrounding this event absolutely terrifying. Wow. I mean, you see, there's people jumping off of that highway that a lot of people are seeing. At first, when I was looking at that highway, I was like, wow, this is resemblant of the highway of death in Iraq. And I genuinely thought I was looking at an Iraq war documentary when I was scrolling through the footage on my phone. And then I saw it was in Hawaii. And I was like, wait, because at first I was like, I saw the outrage over it, and I'm like, why are people? I mean, like, the highway of death was a brutal, um, act by the United States military. But it was almost 30 years ago. I'm like, all right, like, why are people complaining about this now? What happened? And then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that just happened in Hawaii, and it was it was a wildfire that was exacerbated by a hurricane that hit the island earlier. So I was like, holy shit. And I looked at video before all this stuff happened, and people were jumping out of their cars from that highway that looks like the highway of death. They were running across it and jumping into the water. Thousands of people jumping into the water to cool off because it was 1,000 degrees. It was 1,000 degrees, the heat from this blaze. 1,000 degrees. I was like, holy fucking shit. I mean, it was like the apocalypse. There were people that lost everything within moments. I mean, terrifying. I mean, what do you do? And the worst part is they're on an island. They can't escape it. Like, if you're in, New York, or you're not in like Long Island, we'd be screwed. I mean, we'd be clogging up the Verrazano and the George Washington and the Tappan Zee. I mean, we'd be screwed. But thank God we at least have a ferry system. But you look at, anywhere else in the country, I mean, there's a wildfire in Los Angeles County, you drive. You get out of Dodge. I mean, they're stuck. They're like fucked. They are stuck, dude. There's no bridge, It's like you gotta jump in the water. You're done. That's terrifying. That's hell on earth. And there's a lot of theories surrounding it. The first one is, well, first I do want to clarify that there's a lot of saying that, like, oh, we authorized billions of dollars for Ukraine and not a cent for Maui, which, I mean, listen, I understand and I respect the sentiment, but I have to say that, the federal government is making moves to approve $12 billion to be invested into Maui for relief efforts and rebuilding efforts. So the federal government is going to start dumping billions of dollars. The entire island got destroyed. So they will begin in a state, by the way. So we are going to have money pouring into the area again. But there's two major theories. The first is the climate change theory, where, these extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and more destructive. So, a hurricane causing a wildfire, and the wildfire burning out of control, causing 1,000-degree heat radiuses and devastating entire islands, whereas, previously it would have just been a really bad hurricane and maybe some wildfires here or there that just stayed within a forest. And that's a plausible theory. I mean, we've been seeing, extreme weather events around the country. The intensity of heat and the intensity of cold in certain areas of the country has been a little more pervasive than in recent time, but there's still speculation about how serious that is, because the Earth does have natural cycles where some seasons are hotter than others, some seasons are not as bad. I will say that compared to the summer of 2021, this summer is not that bad. That was just like a one-off summer, where the entire western coast of the United States was burning, and then it's fine, you know. And we'll see people complaining about heat in Death Valley, and it's like, well, of course it's 150 degrees in Death Valley. It's called Death Valley for a reason. The rest of the state, it's just hot as fuck, meaning Arizona or Nevada or parts of Texas. It's supposed to be hot as balls down there. It's known for that. Maybe 5 degrees hotter this summer, but not enough to freak out about. Just drink some water. You'll be fine. But the Maui situation is interesting. And I can understand, and climate activists alarm over the extreme weather events. And don't get me wrong, it is devastating. I'm not trying to detract from that. But, they're trying to push for more green solutions and this and that. And they use this tragedy as an example. On the other end of the conspiracy theory, there's this, how do you say it? There's kind of like this theory that basically all the mansions in Maui survived the fire. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, I think even Obama has a mansion out in Maui. And they all survived. All these mansions survived. And everyone else around them got burned down. And the theory is that the very wealthy people and the land developers in Maui started the wildfire and directed it so that way it burned all the area they've been trying to buy. So land developers for the past couple of years have been trying to buy all these houses and businesses around these mega mansions in Maui to develop them into more mega mansions and luxury homes, so that way, they can make their money. So the theory is like, it's just so convenient that all the mega mansions and luxury homes didn't get burned down, yet all the regular people's houses and businesses got burned down. So the theory is that it was a controlled blaze to try and flush out all of the poor, and that way they could overdevelop Maui and add more luxury, buildings into the area. Now that is plausible. It looks very plausible because all those mansions are fine and intact. However, I don't really know how a fire of that magnitude can be controlled. I kind of look at it more as like luck, and really just more like luck, or maybe that the buildings that the wealthy have are better constructed. I kind of agree more with that one rather than the climate change issue. Not to say that, climate change isn't happening. It's just not as severe as I think a lot of people are making it out to be. And we're already doing, around the world, people have adopted so many green measures that, I feel like it's being mitigated. Also, when you look at the, what was I going to say? When you look at this conspiracy theory, right? And this is what I think is interesting about it, getting back to the conspiracy theory. The fire, contrary to what the Greens are saying, the theory that is being spouted is that the fire that was initially caused by the hurricane was put out and controlled, but then it was started again. So it was under control, and then it just exploded again into what we're seeing now. The initial wildfire that occurred from the hurricane occurred a few days prior to this massive blow-up. So basically, it was under control, the fire department was doing their thing, and then boom, it just blew up out of nowhere. That's a little suspicion. That gives me more reason to believe that the theory of, the land development companies wanting to clear out the poor and overdevelop the island for tourists and for the wealthy, I think that's more plausible than just the climate change is bad. I feel like the climate change is bad is being used as a means to distract from the theory of, hey, look at all the multimillionaires and billionaires' homes that are totally intact, and totally to distract from that, and to distract from the point that the fire was started, that the fire exploded again after it was under control. So it's a very suspicious chain of events, And I'd love to talk to someone from those areas. So if anyone knows someone that lives in Hawaii or experienced that and is willing and ready to talk about it, I'd love to have them on. I understand that they may not be willing to for quite some time because it was a very traumatic event, and those events deserve to be. I the thing is, like, news, when news happens, people want to know information immediately and they go to the primary source, but we got to remember too, the primary source are people, and they just lost their homes and everything. I mean, imagine you woke up one day and your whole everything was just burned to the ground, and now everyone around you is nothing. There was a story of a guy, he's a cook, actually, and his home was spared. He was one of the few lucky people whose homes were spared in the fire, and he's cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all the hotel staff and the workers and homeless people now, from the fire. Because, I mean, like, there's actually, like, nothing. If you look at scenes from there, it looks like something out of the Iraq War or, like, World War II. I mean, everything's gone. It's an apocalypse. Whether it's caused by climate change or you know, greedy motherfuckers, people are still suffering right now. And there's a lot of relief funds. I know the government of Hawaii put up ways to support people in Maui. So if you want to help, there's ways to go and help. There's ways to donate. Personally, I don't think we should have to, because I think the federal government should be like, stop, approve this much money. $12 billion is a lot of money. But in comparison to what we've spent for wars and foreign interventions, I genuinely think that, we could open up the coffers a little bit more. But I think, what it is too, a lot of our disdain for, the government, even if they gave $50 billion, okay, well, you gave like $200 billion to Ukraine, so we're still worth less than, Ukrainians. So, I mean, I feel like no matter what the feds did, it wouldn't matter, because, like, the sentiment is still going to be the same. But at the end of the day, like, it's very, because, I'm in New York saying all this stuff, right? I don't know how the people in Hawaii are feeling about it. I mean, they could just be like, oh, thank God they gave us $12 billion. Or they could be like, you motherfuckers better give us $300 billion, which I think they're going to need, because the entire state of Hawaii just lost, like, a major part of its revenue. And this is something else that's really disgusting too. I was on Reddit, actually, trying to get some, like, primary source info on, the situation in Maui. And all I could find was people saying, oh my God, Maui burned to the floor, and I had travel plans. What do I do? I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. That is, like, the most... That's the most insensitive shit. I hope your vacation gets delayed for an eternity, because fuck you. These people just lost their homes, their businesses, their family members, their schools, their everything, their communities. And you're concerned about your plane ticket? Suck my fucking dick. Are you out of your fucking mind? I just, like I wouldn't even be able to, one, type all of that out and say, yeah, this is a great question to ask in the immediate aftermath of thousands of people losing everything they've ever owned. Yeah, totally, I'm going to post that on the fucking internet. What a fucking retard. I would, like, first off, if you're grown enough, if you're grown enough to make a vacation and plan a vacation to Hawaii, you know how to cancel shit. First off, go to your airline and be like, hey, I got screwed here. What do I do? Second, call your hotel. And then if your hotel doesn't exist, if it's through a corporate chain, call the corporate chain. If it's through like one of the smaller businesses, call the credit card company or your debt or your bank and just be like, yo, what do I do here? Thirdly and finally, it's really not that big of a deal. The fact that you even have to like put it on the internet, let alone Reddit, just shows how fucking intelligent you are, which means you're not. Um, don't what the fuck? I mean, are you really gonna go up to a small business that just lost everything and be like, hey bro, so since you guys like burned down, can I get a refund? Like what the fuck? Like no, bro. Like I just really couldn't, I really just can't. I really can't deal with people. I mean, like people just lost fucking everything, and that's like your main concern. Like you just sound like an asshole. Just call your bank, call your airline, and if it's a corporate hotel, call the corporate hotel and be like, "Yo, what do I do now?" And then you deal with business like that. There's people like lamenting about like their fucking travel plans getting canceled. I'm like, bro, have some like read the fucking room. Read the fucking room. I just, that's one thing that really bothers me, and something it's very concerning about um some segments of our population in this country is that there's just a lack of empathy. And I did see some people respond quite nicely saying, "Hey, listen, um that does suck about your travel plans, but maybe just maybe just call the people that I just referenced before, and maybe consider donating some money to the relief efforts in Hawaii." I mean, that's a very nice thing to say. If it was me, I would have been like, "I hope your plane crashes." I mean, like if that happened, I'm living in Long Island, and when all the people from the city came out here to buy property and rent property to escape Manhattan, and they brought their COVID with them, I was like, man, I hope I was pretty vindictive. I was like, man, I hope you're so some shit happens to you, man, because they were overflooding our hospitals. They were raiding all our food stores. They were draining our resources. There were people that were living here that would not have gotten COVID if those people from the city didn't come out here. So and that meant a lot of people died that probably wouldn't have died if they stayed put in New York City. So, we're never going to forget that. So I'm sure, when the people in Hawaii are reading this stuff and seeing this stuff, and we'll see tourists coming in the next couple of weeks and reacting very like non-empathetic towards their struggle as a state and a community. I do not blame them for wanting to be vindictive, not wanting to serve tourists, or even being more like I don't want to say nationalistic, but more like regionalistic. Like, yo, you're not a fucking local, man. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. You're trying to feign sympathy. Like, I lost everything. Fuck you. So I really, I sympathize with the Hawaiian people. I mean, we lost, when Hurricane Sandy hit Long Island, man, there were people, they lost everything. Whole towns got flooded. Businesses got closed down permanently. A lot of people were without power. I mean, we were without power for 3 weeks. There were people that were starving. It was a mess, man. It was really a mess. And that wasn't even nearly as bad is what they're going through in Hawaii right now. And then with the COVID situation, it was really bad. It was really bad. A lot of people were dying out here. A lot of people were getting very sick. Our hospitals were overwhelmed. And it was all because a couple of rich motherfuckers just couldn't be inconvenienced or were afraid. So they had the means, they bought property out here, and then they fucked everything up for everyone else. And that's what's going to happen in Maui, and that's what's going to happen in Hawaii too. So my heart goes out to them. If you guys do want to donate or help in any capacity, go to the Hawaiian government's official website. I'm going to actually put it in the link in the description for you guys to check out. And yeah, just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And, if you can spare the extra dollar or resource, send it their way, because they really need it. They need to rebuild an entire island. So, I mean, look at some of the footage out there. It was just horrible. In an unrelated note, I'm thinking that, my official time for streaming is going to be 10 p.m. as opposed to 6 p.m. So 10 p.m. from now on is going to be the streaming time for Backpacking America. If something does happen where it cannot be 10 p.m., it's going to be announced either day of or day before, and everyone will be aware of when the stream will take place. Anyway, this is episode 260 of Backpacking America. I'm really grateful for your listenership, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 p.m. Peace.